Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at the Crypto Academy. Just in the past year, the Crypto Academy has helped students launch new careers at over 75 of the leading Bitcoin, crypto, and NFT companies across the world. Their 3-week intensive program is designed with some of the leading HR companies across some of the most competitive Bitcoin and crypto companies across the industry to ensure that you are learning the right material to get hired at the right job. If you are looking to transition into a new job in the Bitcoin or crypto industry, the Crypto Academy has you covered. Their next cohort begins October 1st, so make sure that you sign up at the link below. I'm very excited to partner with Pomp and the Crypto Academy to give away a $1,250 free course. The giveaway instructions are very simple. Make sure that you are subscribed to this channel, hit the notification bell, and comment on every podcast from today until October 4th with the hashtag #TheCryptoAcademy. I'm excited for this partnership, and I hope that you guys are too. Let's get on to the show. Another fun episode, people. Welcome back to the show. I'm sitting here with one of the homies. We've been trying to record this, going back and forth for about a month or now. I'm here with Marco Messner. He is the co-founder of 2 projects, one that dates back to 2019 called Corner, and a new project called MazingXR, which deals with NFT augmented reality. This will be an interesting show because we have some surprises with the old project as coming back to life, and then how they plan on integrating it into the modern space with his new project and everything surrounding this entrepreneur's life. So, Marco, thank you for joining me.
Hello, Jake. Very nice to connect finally after back and forth several times to try to schedule this.
Yeah, we're playing scheduling tag for quite some time. It gets frustrating, but now that we're here, we could get on with this show. And we can just start off just straight up from the beginning. As I mentioned, you have a project that you created, I think it was like towards early 2019, experimenting with art, and now you move into augmented reality. Seems like quite a change over the last 3 years. So tell us a little bit about who Marco is, and were you in crypto before you even dove into the 2019 project?
Yeah, I mean, I've been following the Bitcoin development since quite the beginning. I think the first time I heard about Bitcoin was back in university when Bitcoin was about $100. So that was the first touch point. And then again on an event in Vienna, Austria, I actually heard about NFTs in 2019. It was early 2019. And I thought, hey, this is something super interesting and super cool, but I have really no idea what we can do with it and what is it all about. You know, it was like a big cloud of unknowns. So I got back to one good friend of mine and asked, he's a software developer, and asked him, hey, can we dive into that together a little bit and look what this is all about? And then quite quickly we found OpenSea as the platform back then, but there wasn't really much going on there. You couldn't create NFTs just by yourself. You couldn't upload anything. So we thought this would be a cool project to tackle and to try something. So we deployed our first smart contract in, I think it was summer 2019. So when I checked last week, actually the NFT or the smart contract was now on Etherscan over 1,000 days old, which is quite cool. Mm-hmm. We minted some NFTs. We minted, I think it was collection 141 back then on OpenSea that we launched. And then we followed the NFT path a little bit, but unfortunately lost track of it since there was nothing really going on. It was still an unknown and still something that needed to be developed and needed to get to mass adoption, as we saw, especially last year.
Yeah, it is quite interesting how some people find the NFT space in the middle of a bear market. I mean, summer 2019 is like the depths of the bear market. Bitcoin is, barely off of $3,000. The Ethereum is pretty much dead. You have Maker that's like, and DeFi is just being deployed and still a year away from finding any sort of traction. What was the original vision of Art Corner? Because as I mentioned in the beginning, now you're into AR, and so maybe over that 3 years, seems like there's been quite a change.
More or less. I mean, our initial idea was actually to provide NFTs, or to give artists and 2D artists and artists in the traditional space the opportunity to take pictures of their physical artworks and then upload it to our platform, to the Art Corner platform, and create an NFT along with that, and then print an QR code and stick it at the back of your physical artwork. And this way prove it as the real one stored on the blockchain. So still same as the initial idea, or the idea of NFTs as it's discussed now. So that was the basic idea back then. And coming back to what we're doing now with augmented reality is pretty similar. Still, we are aiming for allowing artists and creatives to bring their 3D artworks and 2D artworks into augmented reality.
Yeah, so that makes a lot of sense. So here I pulled up the contract. The first deployment or contract creation was 7/19/2019, as you could see. And it looks like there's about 50 tokens or so, maybe 49 tokens that were released at the time. And
correct, 49. Yeah,
49. And so here it actually is. And I believe you've changed the metadata recently since then when we discussed it. But if you go here to prove, for those that don't know, I'm on OpenSea that are listening, you could click oldest and see the oldest token. And you go down here and it says, 3 years. That's so you could double verify it. What was there original artwork for this? This, as you could tell, is definitely more appropriate towards MazingXR, which we'll talk about in a second.
It's a little bit more modern, and that was our idea behind the creation of the visual, that we combine a little bit the modern world with back then the old NFT art gallery idea.
Okay, and now here, you're planning on selling these, correct? Because it look like they never sold, or maybe one ever sold in its history. So here, there was 4 sales 4 years ago. And
I don't know how that happened actually, because there was nothing really there. The smart contract and the NFTs were always empty.
Really? So basically, you guys deployed the contract, and then you just said that, this is tough, or maybe we have no idea what we're doing, and you just kind of walked away from it until amazing augmented reality.
Correct. Yeah, that was basically back then what happened after trying half a year to contact and get in contact with artists on the traditional space in Europe. Also more conservative market overall. So then we thought, okay, this is not the right time for it. Let's do something different. And then we started with MazingXR and with the augmented reality in 2020. Basically, during the first lockdown, the idea was, hey, everyone sits at home. We need to bring more fun and more products to people's houses, and make it easy for them to view products in their space.
Okay, and we'll come back to what the plans are for this. But as you could see, for those that are watching, they plan on selling these. Maybe it's catered towards the historical collectors, or maybe there's an integration, which I believe there is, with MazingXR, and we can go over and talk about this. This was created, you mentioned, in 2020. Just give us a brief explanation of what Mazing augmented reality is and how it's going to have an effect on the non-fungible token space?
So with Mazing, actually, we started out in the area of e-commerce and creating physical products or virtual versions of physical products, and making it easier to view them in their house, basically coming from the idea of IKEA. However, we wanted to make it easy and for everyone to use. So we developed a software that you don't need an app to do that. And you can just view it on any mobile device or iPad or tablet that you might have at home. Then we tapped into last year when NFTs kind of got the boost. We thought, hey, this would be a cool opportunity to tap into that space again and see the synergies and merge what we are doing with augmented reality towards NFTs. And there we thought, hey, there's a lot of 3D models going around there in the NFT space and super cool artwork. So let's just hang some virtual artworks on the wall.
From a technical perspective, how difficult is it to tie in smart contracts and Web3 into augmented reality? It seems like a pretty much glossed over area of technology, because there's a lot of the projects have tried to just go immediately to VR with like Somnium Space and the metaverses, but augmented reality seems to not be as popular.
So what we did is typically, you can just take the technology as it is and don't tie it into the blockchain. And what we did is an integration with Solana and Ethereum. So we are basically reading out the smart contract information, and you would only be able to see the object in augmented reality if you actually own that NFT. In order to do so, you would need some kind of wallet browser.
So are you tying in MetaMask?
Correct. MetaMask and all the frequently used wallets like Coinbase as well.
Coinbase, so a Web3 wallet, which makes a lot of sense. And over the last, now it sounds like it's about 1.5 to 2 years of working on this, what kind of progress has been made from an integration standpoint or a project standpoint?
With the project itself, with augmented reality, we started out like really from nowhere, zero experience in the augmented reality market, basically. And now we have about 300 e-commerce customers. We have more than, I think, 50 NFT projects where we offer augmented reality solutions to, and it's constantly growing. And our latest development now is basically to bring Art Corner back to life, and giving people the opportunity to have their own little augmented reality art gallery.
Okay, and so is that where Art Corner ties in? How, like, since you've updated the artwork and you have this XR project, where does this come into play? Is this just a cash grab to make some money off of the historical community? Is this going to be some sort of pass that then intertwines with the amazing team? What's the plans?
So the initial plan is that you will be able to use that as your own augmented reality art gallery, basically. So it's not just an NFT. So if you own it, you will be able to modify it, and wherever you see the white spots, for example, you could be uploading your own NFTs to. Then you can integrate that into your websites or offer it as well as a kind of rent out art gallery. That's the initial plan. And then down the line, we, of course, with those 49 OGs, we want to create more closer bond to maybe see, okay, hey, what else can we do with augmented reality? And I see that kind of as a cooperation hub with those 49 NFTs and the owners of those NFTs who really believe in new technologies.
Okay, so these 49 that were minted in 2019 is essentially its own individual AR art gallery. And so if I own one of these, I could take all of my historical NFTs, and or at least the ones that are intertwined in it, and then display it throughout my house equivalent, right? If I held my phone up, I could have all my Mooncats and all my CryptoPunks and Rare Pepes that could be displayed all over my walls.
In this case, you would be able to upload 3. You see those little white areas on top of the, correct, yeah, here you would place your NFTs, and then you can place the whole little art gallery that you see here as a 3D object in your house or in your street, or place a QR code somewhere in the world, and people could scan it, or you could scan it and place it somewhere in the street. So you could have a little free augmented reality art gallery in the middle of Times Square, which otherwise would cost you a fortune.
Wow, that's quite unique. And then you mentioned that you're going to then mint more NFTs on this 2019 contract itself as a V2 companion or just the extension.
That's the plan, to see, okay, first check how the first 49 go, and then ideally also get in touch with the community and have their opportunity on that. I think that's a great way for us also to get the feedback of the first OG owners, especially as you mentioned, there are some people who really believe into old NFTs and are very much interested in that. So I see here mostly people who are really tech enthusiasts. So this is just a perfect synergy for us.
Yeah, I agree as well. And although maybe the contract didn't really have much when it was originally deployed, in the historical community, some people believe the timestamp is the art. Just older things tend to have more value based off of your preference. But it does find itself in kind of the middle area. Around this time is when like crypto skulls and autoglyphs and generative K compositions and a few other projects in the historical community that have some traction. This kind of falls right in the middle. Although it didn't really have any sustenance, it still now has that underlying age, which provides more value, even if there was nothing essentially on it, because it could be viewed as a collector's item down the road, or if you continue to build on it, then these Generation 0 tokens have, or Generation 1, you could say, on this contract will have a high premium compared to the rest of them.
That's the idea.
So tell me then, I was looking at your YouTube page recently, and it's some of the stuff is quite interesting with AR, but as I was watching it, I'm like, what is the actual utility of it right now? Is it just purely for entertainment purposes? Right, seeing your NFT as we're watching on this video in front of you when you're peering through your iPad. That's just for entertainment purposes. Is there like a long-term vision of what the ultimate goal is?
So on the one hand, of course, it's a little bit entertainment, and as well getting a better glimpse on a product and getting a real feeling for the product. As we look at that video, for example, that we did in cooperation with T-Mobile, was to have real size comparing phones in your house. So the problem is it's hard to really get a feeling for the physical item and feel how the size would be. And here we did this little project with T-Mobile together to visualize that and to give people the opportunity directly from the online shop, view it in their space and compare it. And also funny, of course, it's like it has a little bit of gamification factor to it as well. And we see my grandpa, for example, he still is not sure how I can actually make money with virtual chairs. So he's always
Yeah, well, when you look at like augmented reality versus virtual reality, when people think of the metaverse, the first thing they kind of gravitate towards is the Ready Player One kind of style, where it's like this fully immersive virtual world where you don't ever have to, you sit on your couch, but you feel like you're in this, you put the headsets on and you feel like you're in like another universe. But what's often overlooked is that AR seems to be kind of the bridge to get there, right? The hybrid of the real world and the virtual world at one time. Do you think that's the right trajectory for this kind of technology, or is there something else that the masses are missing?
I mean, what we are looking very closely at is the developments of Apple and with the Apple AR/VR device, and also what's going on the Apple software side. So we're watching that very closely, and this is something that kind of already gives a little bit into the direction that we are looking at the merge of a virtual world and the physical world, which would be augmented reality. So we strongly believe that at some point we are gonna walk through our house or our empty apartment, and it will be digitally staged with the digital items that we selected in however the metaverse will look like back then or in the future. So we would see how our products would look in our house.
And when you're having conversations with these Web2 companies, like you mentioned, T-Mobile, are they being receptive towards NFTs and AR kind of Web3 technologies, or is that more of an after effect and you're pitching just AR tech first and then Web3 afterwards?
Yeah, mostly it depends. In T-Mobile's case, it was definitely like that, that we said, okay, let's start with augmented reality first. But as we dove into that area and this cooperation kind of expanded, we got to know also other companies that work with T-Mobile who actually do things in the metaverse and trying things out in the metaverse. So I think also those companies, they can't really resist on getting their foot wet with Web3.
And why do you think they are kind of resistant or hesitant to participate in Web3?
I think it's mostly knowledge. And then also, I mean, it's the same with augmented reality. Who are you talking to? You're mostly talking to senior management, and senior management is typically somewhere between 40 and 70. And not everyone is so open-minded to try new things. And especially Web3, as this developed extremely rapidly, it's very likely, or that's my hypothesis on that, it was just too fast for these decision makers to actually get a good understanding of what it is and what they can do with it.
That makes sense. And yeah, this is like such a new area for me, a new technology. Sometimes I don't even know how to go about it. But you did mention earlier, which caught my attention, talking about integrating some sort of like gamification into like a Web3 AR type world. In your view, what does that look like? How do we go about gamifying these AR experiences with NFTs?
I mean, you can technically, we see it with characters already, that we had dancing characters that would be like a little bit, have a control unit, for example, along with it, where you can walk it through the streets. Cars, for example, little toy cars that you drive around in your house or somewhere in the park. So that would be something that I definitely see in the near future to be possible. It's possible already with apps. There are apps where you can do it, but as we focus purely on on Apple-less solution and kind of solutions that are very easy to use and you don't need to download anything. This is something that needs some development.
How many people are working with you at MazingXR? Does this take is this a combination of you'll say like Web 2 devs with AR devs and then smart contract devs? Is that kind of how it works? You have to commingle a handful of different developers together?
Yeah, we do have some different developers. I mean, one developer is kind of the brain, actually, to be honest, who can develop like smart contracts as well as augmented reality solution. But then we have also a wide range of freelancers and a really good network of very, very talented people that at the end of the day make all the different projects possible.
Yeah, I'm quite a smooth brain when it comes to the development side of projects. Tell me what this AR Saunas is, right? I'm on the website. It says a success story, Hydrosoft AR saunas in 3D and augmented reality. What the hell am I going to do with a? I'm like your grandfather or your father. Like, what the hell am I going to do with a sauna in 3D?
So in this case, for example, the company said they have often struggles to convince or to kind of show the products how it would look like. So what happens in this specific case is that the Hydrosoft company salesperson actually visits the house of the grandpa, of my grandpa then, and he would take his iPad with him, go through the list of Hydrosoft spas that they're interested in, and then just pull up the 3D model and the augmented reality version of it and places it in their house or in their corner. So in this case, the owner or the possible future customer has the opportunity to really visualize how it would look like when it's in their room. We see it on the left side on the video. It's like true size, and you get just a better feeling of how it looks like. And what we have also experienced is a little bit of a psychological factor that augmented reality adds to it. So it feels like you already own it if you have it in your house. But the conversion rate in Hydrosoft, they're definitely super happy with it. Also because they did a great implementation and they really understood how to use it and how the process should work.
So I'm assuming then the early use cases for this is kind of a combination of like sales. So you could kind of visualize what you're about to purchase, or modeling, or construction. So now, of course, with my just curious brain, I start thinking about like how do NFTs tie into this kind of things. I think about like in the future, if real estate contracts turn into NFTs, then you can kind of tie in the model of the house as the NFT, and then you could use AR to kind of go to the plot of land and spread it out and maybe walk through it. Does that sound overzealous, or is that kind of how you see it as well?
We already did one house project. It was a similar case where the company said it would be awesome to actually view my house in AR, and imagine having the same house maybe in the virtual world. So you could tie it into an NFT and place it in a metaverse on your land that you purchased.
See, that's kind of future that I like. That's the utility of it. Just got to be careful about hacking. If you put your house as an NFT, someone steals your house in the virtual world, you're not sitting pretty at all.
Yeah. That's why you would tie it into an NFT, so you actually know who this creation or this architectural masterpiece would belong to.
Yeah, it's no kidding. So how do you go about like designing these 3D constructions, do you have a specific person on the team that's the equivalent of a digital architect or digital designer?
Again, in this case, yeah, we have one lead 3D engineer, and then we have, again, a broader network of 3D artists, because every project and every model is a little bit different. For example, characters needs a total different technique than clothing, for example, or hard surface modeling of physical objects. Some very complex models like actual 3D printers. Also quite interesting, creating 3D models of 3D printers.
Here, I just pulled up right here that it's a Lazy Lion 3D rendering. Was this a collaboration with the community?
Yes, this was a cooperation with the owner of this Lazy Lion. That's cool. So we created it from scratch from a 2D picture, created 3D model and augmented reality version of it.
Interesting. And are there any other NFT collabs that you guys have dove down into? I could see this being the early primitive states where people just want to kind of humanize their NFTs, especially their profile pictures, as it's used kind of as a Web3 identity in the current state. But once you have them 3D rendered, and then I hold up my phone, and then I can see my Bored Ape in front of me, maybe it just brings a little bit more joy. Have you guys experienced anything outside of just 3D modeling, some PFPs?
We did all of the Meebits, like the 20,000 Meebits. We created the AR version of it. And then the owner have the opportunity to upgrade it and give it some dance animations or some kind of signature moves that the owner may be interested in. So that's one of the bigger projects where we really integrated 20,000 NFTs at once into our platform.
Was that in collaboration with Meebits DAO?
Correct, yeah.
That's what I thought. I know they've been working hard on the Metaverse expansion. When these 3D models are built out, are these transferable into VR, or is that a different type of technology?
Technically, the models that we create can also be used in VR, yes.
That's pretty cool. So it's a two-pronged approach.
And what we also try, and of course, app-less solutions is something that's super important, is file size. So you want to make sure that you have a low file size. And this one helps again to create better experiences in the metaverse, since that's also mostly just web-based. So you want to make sure that you have low file sizes there as well.
This is cool. I'm scrolling through the Twitter now. There's a picture of a F1 car, and it says, "Dear F1 and augmented reality fans, this is the future of merchandising. Imagine you can take home your favorite F1 car." Do you think that's a case where you just go to like a real physical plot of land and you could just set up multiple AR pop-up shops, and that's where you go and purchase your NFTs of some sort?
I do see that actually, and when I was there at the Formula One court, I did show it to people, and I was walking around with the iPad, so quite a lot of people saw it, and they wanted to have a Ferrari, or wanted to have the Red Bull car or the helmet of Max Verstappen. So there was quite a good range of interest, even from people who typically don't have something to do with augmented reality or NFTs.
What do you think then is the largest hurdle that Web3 is facing when it comes to integrating NFTs to AR and VR? We've been sitting here theorizing about all of these cool possibilities and some of the primitive forms that have popped up between, sales and modeling and merchandising. What is the toughest part to make this a reality?
I think one hurdle is that people are just not used to it yet. like we weren't used to a tablet or a touchscreen phone. I mean, I myself was back then, I thought I will never use a touchscreen. I don't need that. But then trying it and using it more frequently, that really got to the convenience and got me to get a touchscreen phone. So the iPhone 3, I think it was 3GS, was not the first purchase I made regarding touchscreen. But again, it really needs the adoption, and it needs kind of this critical mass of your friends at the end of the day who are in the space, in the NFT space, in the Web3 space, to really get towards mass adoption.
Quite interesting. I think we're going to get there, but I have to be honest, I've used a VR product or AR product like once in my entire life. Do you think the consumption of AR is going to be mostly through a smartphone, or do you think there's going to be some other AR device, maybe a Web3 phone like Solana creates and it comes through a different product?
I think so. I mean, sooner or later, we probably see new devices coming up and new, more convenient devices that would be able to display AR. At the moment, we see the development of Apple creating this LiDAR sensor that makes it really astonishingly accurate of the placement of 3D objects, which is in a phone. But down the line, it's probably we will see definitely new devices coming up in that space.
Yeah, man, I really, really hope so. A lot of this stuff is really promising. It's cool here. You see there's like, you have a Coda portrait here. The MeBits is a cool project. I just try to think about what is the next moves for this. To me, it just seems like it's mostly entertainment. You can see your NFT dancing with people, like kind of like in a TikTok version, or modeling is cool. But right now there's been a big attack on Web3 products from Web2 gaming companies. As we just saw, like Minecraft or Microsoft just banned NFTs from Minecraft, not Minecraft, which took like a huge blow to the industry. You don't think something like this could happen within Apple or Microsoft with the AR tie-in, because they do control the app stores?
The thing is, we are tying into the Apple native AR functions and the Android native AR functions. So in case they would turn that off, they would turn off their own system. So it's basically something that we're tying into. And at this stage, we see improvements going on and new releases coming out. So in the near future, this probably not going to happen. Also because I think all these augmented reality features and the actual experiences, they're created by the community. If we look at Spark AR from Instagram and Snap and Facebook, that is their augmented reality platform, more or less. They're also allowing the community to build those kind of experiences. And at the end of the day, it benefits Instagram as such, as their users have new kinds of experiences.
It's cool. That's good that that's been thought about and protected, because we know the hostility comes in all forms. I want to go back to the art corner a little bit, as we've kind of dissected the future of augmented reality with NFTs, but now going back to Art Corner, which was the original vision. How do you view historical NFTs or just like, I guess you say digital provenance on the blockchain? Is this something that interests you? Is there a reason why you decided to go back? Let me rephrase that. Is that part of the reason that you decided to go back and kind of continue to build on this original contract? Is there some sort of nostalgia to you, or do you think it's just a larger opportunity?
I mean, one thing that really interested me, and I mean also for myself, looking back at the time when I created or when we created that smart contract, we would have never imagined what would actually happen with NFTs in 2021, and this was definitely one of the reasons to go back and say, hey, we did already something in that space. We should definitely catch the train of the time and just give something cool back to the community, where we said, okay, even though back then we said, okay, this is a little bit too early at that stage. But that's something definitely that's super fascinating to me, to see all that kind of development. And of course, what's super cool is that you can, tell your kids, or you can just hand it over to your kids as something that will always be on the blockchain.
Yeah, it is quite unique how people view digital provenance on a blockchain. For some people, it doesn't matter. And then when you dive deeper down the hole of vintage assets, there's a lot of semantics that go into play where, since the metadata was changed from a collector's standpoint, it might not provide as much value. But here it sounds like you're building on it because that was your first contract, and there's some sort of nostalgia to you or some meaning in there that you want to continue to rebuild out the original vision. But now with, we'll say, 3 years of more experience and a little bit more clarity that's been provided with the emergence of NFTs.
Yeah. I mean, as you mentioned, I think looking at it now and seeing it spinning and having the idea back then to create an art corner and an area for physical art or artists in the fine art industry, for example, it's something definitely where I said, okay, we've really combined the two worlds, the world from 3 years ago to the world where we are now, and that's something that basically is represented in the smart contract as well.
I like that. I'm all for experimentation. I'm a big fan of using historical provenance as a foundational layer to build upon, because a lot of these, the newer projects, you just have to have time pass before that can actually exist. And this is exactly what has happened. But from a technical perspective, and I actually have no idea what the answer is to this, was it tough to go back in and change the contract? I know it was standardized with the ERC721, but now merging it and tying it into MazingXR, was there any complications technically within the contract that provided some hurdles or obstacles to get where we are now?
No, actually it was quite smooth. I mean, it needed some tweaks, and getting it listed on OpenSea again was the bigger hurdle.
Seems to be for everybody.
Yeah, so that took more time than actually getting it set up again, and it was always there. There wasn't just proper metadata, so we just kind of filled it. And yeah.
Do you think our corner will ever have its own AR marketplace that's existing on the website, so you don't have to deal with some of the hurdles that OpenSea seems to provide for everybody?
That would be cool. Like I do see there some kind of opportunity as we're expanding our technology reach and developing more towards a platform where everyone and every NFT can be visualized in a frame at home. So if we see that development going, and that's going to be like within the next half year, we do see also the opportunity to create a marketplace around it. And it's not yet in the scope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no roadmaps here for anybody, right? That only causes a lot of frustration. Now I've pulled up the page for the sale that is planned of these 49 OG limited Art Corner NFTs that now we know is going to display 3 NFTs. somewhere in the corner of your house as an actual art corner. It says the sales price is between 0.11 to 0.33 ETH. If now I've made it through this podcast and I'm interested in whatever of it, the historical component, the AR component, I just like artwork, I like cool stuff, or, I just like Marco, how do I go about getting on this list?
So basically, we will create a type form, and you can just sign up on the list. There will be 49 available, first come, first serve. And then whenever we actually release it and put it up for sale, we will email you about it. Or if you have left other contact information, we will also reach you there, since it's only 49. So it's not going to be too many. And then you will be able to get your art corner.
All right. So basically, I just need to go to MazingXR on Twitter, follow you guys, and there can be a post on there to follow the instructions at some point, maybe in the next few weeks or month.
Probably we're going to put up the information by next week.
All right. So by the time that this comes out, then everyone's going to be ready to get on the whitelist. I know I want to be minting one of these. I've actually never experimented with AR. I think with NFTs is cool, and whether it's historical or not, over time it definitely will prove to be. I just like experimenting with new technologies. Sometimes it's important to just step out of our comfort zone and see where this may go.
Perfect. Yeah, that's all about, and that's what the community and also the NFTs are about at the end of the day, connecting with people who share same visions.
And before we get out of here, what NFT projects capture your attention outside of just augmented reality? Is there a certain classification of NFTs or certain projects that you tend to follow closely?
Typically, I like all the projects that create 3D models and 3D characters or 3D houses. That's something that's definitely super interesting to me. And lately there was this RTFDK, since they do have also a vision behind it, along with Nike. That's definitely something super interesting, and I'm definitely following along with.
Artifact is pretty cool. They have those shoes now. I think Steppen now has the 3D modeled shoes, and Clonex actually recently put out I don't know what the kit is called, to where you can basically construct a 3D model of it.
So you can make your own 3D model
for Clonex. Yeah, they put that out within the last week or so. Although I'm not a dev, so I would have no idea how to even go about it. I'd probably have to hire you to do it for me. But Marco, thank you for this conversation. I think it's quite unique, both projects that you have in front of you, deploying a contract, stepping away from it because you were just testing it out and experimenting in 2019, then building out the vision that you had of augmented reality, and then coming back and taking that vintage or aged contract and then building on an original vision that ties into it. It's quite fascinating. I haven't really heard too many projects that are like this. So I wish you best of luck with that. And hopefully I could get on that allow list to get one of these art corners. And so I can display my mooncats in the corner.
That sounds like a plan. Thank you very much, Jake, for having me. It was a pleasure speaking about our ideas, our visions. And if you have any questions, always just reach out.
Where does everyone find you at?
It's best Twitter or Instagram, MazingXR, or through our website. Just send us a message.
If you guys want your NFTs built in a 3D model so that you can hug your CryptoPunk at night, be sure to hit Marco up. Thank you, Marco. Thank you guys for listening and watching. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.